Today, Dundalk TV is with Bill Thomas at the Baltimore Antique Battle Show. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Well, we've got a collection of what we call whimsies. These are things that are sort of offhand things, and what it really means is things that were decorated more than they really needed to be. It's not like a rolling pin over here that would be plain like you'd normally see. This time they put a lot of extra work on just to make it beautiful for the wife and so forth. So it's sort of a whimsical situation on some of this stuff.
Well, show us the rolling pin first, since you mentioned that.
Now, obviously this is way more fancy than any rolling pin needs to be. And that's what we're talking about, the extravagance of decoration. But obviously a beautiful piece.
Oh, it's amazing.
Purely a piece that's made for whimsy and made for the wife to put on the mantle, not to ever use.
Yeah, so the history behind the whimsy is, give the history, please.
Well, it started, we don't know, but what they would often do, the glass blowers in the factory would take the time to, at the end of the day, they had these different pieces of material around, colored glass and so forth, and they were often permitted to make things to either take home or give to their wives, or just to even take out and sell later. Things that were not normally made in the workshop, because they were just overdone pieces and too expensive just to take out and do for the normal production line.
Okay. Well, that's always an interesting story to hear. And what do you have now?
To prove they weren't useful items, a lot of times they weren't useful, there's a glass pipe. Obviously, if you look inside, you know it's never been used. It was never intended to use. It was pure decoration, probably to hang on the wall at one stage. These are interesting to me. I picked one up from a woman, probably 10 years ago. And 2 years later, if you look, I've got two of them. 2 years later, I go into her booth, into her shop, and she's got another one. She says, oh, at the time, I actually bought two of them. I said, why didn't you tell me? You know, I was lucky to find a pair of them. But the beautiful red, white, and blue glass, and of course I like to think that as being American attitude towards the decoration.
Okay, and I definitely like the centerpiece there that you had right there, the piece that you have in the center.
The big piece back here?
No, the one right in front of it. There you go.
The little bottle.
Yes.
Here's the same thing.
Lift that up, Bill, so we can see it.
Beautiful, what we call nailsy type decoration or loop type decoration because of the loops on it and so forth. It's both names, but definitely a whimsy type piece. But beautiful color and red, white, and blue again, which needless to say, being American, I love red, white, and blue. And makes it a really elegant piece. So as you say, you'll see I've got a number, the rolling pin, the flask like this for drinking flask. Now this could have been used, but not very likely. It's just too fancy for a guy to stick in his back pocket and get a drink out of it every once in a while.
Okay, and what about the, you said it was a vase over here, the one with the curved neck at the top?
This is very unusual. No one's ever seen one like it. There are some shorter versions of this. It's sort of almost like it's a pulled feather, a pulled looped vase like this. Definitely a Pittsburgh piece, but no one's ever seen one quite as big and fancy as this. Most of them are only about this tall total. This has got 4, 5, 6 more inches of decoration. Pure for the fun of it, to take home, and what could you do? Stick one rose in it maybe? But it's not a real useful thing. What we call these vases, I think they're more decoration type pieces than anything else.
Okay, so how can you tell it was a Pittsburgh piece?
The overall configuration in this pattern turns up quite a bit in the Pittsburgh area, so everybody sort of agrees. And has the band of glass in the middle of it and the bulb in this part. They're almost like powder horns, and sometimes they call these powder horn vases. But they're very decorative and really not very useful, just pure whimsy type decoration pieces to have around the house. Beautiful
Oh, it's spectacular. Okay, and then we were talking before we started the interview about the balls. You have some balls over here.
Yeah. went off because you can get a better decoration on the better feel for these. These are called witch balls, and as you can see, there was a number of different ones, different patterns made. But this again has the loopings on it and so forth. And this has a little piece of metal that goes inside so you can hang it up. And oftentimes, going back to German times, when these were first made, they called these witch balls because their feeling was that the witch would come into the house and they would put this at the entrance door and have these hanging up and by the door, and that the witch would get inside and couldn't find her way back out. It's sort of like a fly trap today. Sometimes you have fly traps with little holes in them, and once the fly gets inside, they're caught, they're trapped. But this was actually for witch, and they're very popular. A lot of people collect them. There's some plain ones over here, solid colors. We might bring $150, but when you get into one like this, it wouldn't be unusual for it to bring $400 to $500 because they're very, very rare. But particularly in strong colors like this. What a beautiful, beautiful piece. And a lot of people take some of the vases, like the vase over here. This is a hyacinth vase. Normally you stick a bulb in here and let it grow. The roots go down into the inside, the bulb sits up here. And a lot of people would take these witch balls and set them on top because they look so pretty together. But they really didn't come together. They were made separately. A lot of people, collectors, assemble them that way.
Now, could you grab some of the other balls you have in that dish there? Maybe 2 of those, because I have to tell you, they look very beautiful as well.
Well, there is a red, white, and blue one. But this is a red, white, and blue one. Most of them, again, they're broken off here. They're broken off here so that they could put something in it to hold them up and have them hang. But this one here, they took just little pieces of glass and rolled it onto a table, usually a metal table or a metal plate or a marble plate. And would put little chips of glass down, and then when the glass was hot, they would roll it when they were blowing it. And that would pick up these onto the glass, so that's where you would get something like this. The other one, they would thread the glass on, the first one I showed you, and then did what's called pulled feather to create those loops. But this is another technique of decorating the witch balls. And they come in all kinds of colors and so forth. There's one over here. If you can get to it and look over here, they've done all kinds of chips. They just took a lot of chips and put together. And here's a rare one, it's sort of a black glass one, which is unusual. But these solid ones are the most common to find, the blues and so forth. This was a little bit different. Kids would take these big balls that were sort of this light blue color, and they would take the little whimsical pieces of advertising and so forth and cut them out and then put them onto the inside and glue these on the inside and just decorating from the late 1880s to 1890s. And they're a little rare. And then they would just paint white on the inside, but it made them sort of a pretty little decoration thing. And a lot of the kids would take the balls and do that to them.
Well, I know you're a big-time collector, and you won Best of Show this year, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if you do any selling. Do you buy and sell?
I do buy and sell. When you end up collecting a few hundred pieces, you end up more than you really can display. So you have a tendency to obviously sell it.
Okay, is there any...
And the other thing is that you're buying something, all of a sudden this one's better than you had, so you keep the good one and sell the one that's not quite as good.
Well, I wasn't really sure, and you did the early colonial where we did a video with that, yes. So anybody can see that on Dundalk TV as well. Did you have any contact information that you have a website that somebody can go to?
I do have a website. It's HOLPROMO, Paul Promo, at Yahoo.com.
Okay, say it again. HOLPROMO
at Yahoo.com. And they can always reach me there with questions, and we talk about things. It's short for my business, which is holiday promotions.
You're a class guy. I'm so glad to see you again here at the show, and congratulations. I know that, well, this is one heck of a collection. What you had before was amazing as well, and this award is very well deserved for you today.
I appreciate it very much. Look forward to seeing this.
Yes, and I look forward to seeing you again at the next show.
Okay, thank you now.
Thank you, Bill.